Test match between India and South Africa in Johannesburg has just completed. In fact, the match has ended with a draw. It will be some heartbreak for the Indian fans, those who are hoping that India will register their win in South Africa. Siddharth is joining us now. Siddharth, complete heartbreak for Indian fans. They were hoping that it will be a victory.
You know what? I think if they've seen how the race progressed, an overwhelming sense of relief is what they'll be feeling right now. Because by the end of the match, towards the last 20 overs, it was all South Africa's match to lose, but it's ended in a draw. And as the cricketing cliche goes, that no one's lost, which is in fact true. And cricket is the only winner in this test match, because it's been absolutely phenomenal what India and South Africa have done today. The kind of cricket that's been played out today at the Wanderers in Johannesburg has been absolutely phenomenal. 450 for 7 is what South Africa have managed at the end of day, rather at the end of play on day 5, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. And that's the question, because it is certainly a match that's ended in a draw. But does it feel like a defeat for India? Because the fact remains that 458, that's a total that's never been chased before. 414 is the highest total that's ever been chased in the 4th innings. South Africa got close. They got a little too close. 450 for 7 is what their 2nd innings has ended at when finally play ended on day 5. It's been absolutely phenomenal. The kind of effort that we've seen from both teams, is absolutely incredible. On the studio, rather in the studio with me, I have Nikhil Chopra, former Indian cricketer. And Nikhil, what a sensational match this is.
Well, incredible. You know, first and foremost, you know, you've got to give credit where it's due. I think the South Africans played some fantastic cricket. And you got to give, you know, a lot of credit to the way du Plessis played, as well as AB de Villiers. They kept playing positive cricket. Had they not lost wickets in the last 7-8 overs, they would have been going for a victory. Chasing down 458 runs. It's not that the Indian bowlers bowled badly. It's just a classic case of somebody's played better today. You know, this is test match cricket, Siddharth, at its best. You know, when the chips are down, you want somebody to literally play out of their skins. And the South African batsmen have played out of their skins.
Well, they certainly have. It's been phenomenal. We'll have those pictures up for you in just a moment. It was sensational. It came down to a situation where South Africa looked like winning the match and winning by enough number of wickets in the bag. But then one wicket changed it all. AB de Villiers falling after 100, and that changed the entire complexion of the match. What it did was give India the impetus. And the fact is that, Nikhil, this draw feels like a defeat.
Well, without a doubt. You know, 458 runs ahead. You had enough time in the test match to try and get those 10 wickets. You made inroads in the South African batting lineup. But ever since, I guess, AB de Villiers walked out to bat, and that partnership with du Plessis, it just changed the complexion of the game completely. Maybe, you know, I don't know, I might be wrong, but, you know, the start of the day, you probably felt that Team India just had to go out there, turn up and you'll win. But I guess, you know, in sport, there are no givens. You need to go out there and make things happen. At the end of the day, you needed to go out there and pick up those wickets. And maybe a little complacency probably crept in, and some brilliant batting. And that's where Team India fell short of winning this test match. And we were speaking about this earlier, in the earlier show, Siddharth, and you put it spot on. We've never been good starters when we've played overseas. This was our golden chance.
Well, this was a golden chance. Let's go across to Saurav Ganguly, former Indian captain. And Dada, an opportunity lost for the Indian team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they were in a fantastic position to win this test match. Although you have to give a lot of credit to South Africa with the way they played, with the way they set up the game. And if Faf du Plessis wouldn't have been run out by Ajinkya Rahane at that stage, South Africa could have probably won this test match. But in spite of everything, in spite of all the heroics of South Africa, India will go back to the hotel in Johannesburg disappointed, because they were in a fantastic position to win the test match and go one up in a 2 test match series. Because once they go back to Durban, they will be under pressure again, because the South Africans have looked very, very good.
Yeah, where did it go wrong for India? Because yes, I know it's ended in a draw, but it certainly seems that all went wrong on the final day, sort of.
No, I didn't think it went wrong on the final day, but you know, I'm very disappointed with the way Ravichandran Ashwin has bowled. You know, he obviously gets the benefit of doubt. He's picked. He's an automatic choice. But I think he's let the once he goes back to the hotel, he'll feel that I have let the team down. He needed to bowl a lot more attacking line. He needed to bowl good areas. You don't expect the quicks, especially the Indian quicks, to pick 40 wickets in a test match. You have 4 bowlers and you have 1 main spinner. During the era between 2000 to 2008, 9, 10, when India started winning abroad, if you would go through the test matches and see day 4, day 5, people like Harbhajan Singh, people like Anil Kumble pick wickets. I can give you a whole lot of test matches. You go to Headingley, you go to Adelaide, you go to the West Indies, you go to England, Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh would come into the play on day 4, day 5 of the test match. But that hasn't happened in South Africa. It didn't happen in Australia. It didn't happen in England. So it hasn't happened here as well. And this was a golden opportunity for Ravichandran Ashwin, because the wicket did have help. There was bounce, there was turn, odd ball spun a long way. And India needed him to contribute to today, stand up and deliver with the ball.
Absolutely, and Nikhil, this was the 5th day wicket. The ball was up and down, and Ashwin failed to contribute. I think he's picked up, 9 wickets in 5 away test matches. An average, I think he's averaging over 85 right now.
Well, everybody knows, you know, his overseas record is nothing to really write home about. And like Dadi said, once he gets back to that hotel room, he's going to be disappointed, because when you had the opportunity to go out there and, you know, create history, you know, the first innings, 10 wickets were picked up by the medium pacers, but bowling on day 5, I guess, you know, bowling the wrong line. If he had given a couple of breakthroughs, things could have looked very, very different. And he's a match winner. Make no mistake about it. I guess, you know.
But not in overseas conditions.
Not at all. He needs to work on his game. He needs to try and understand. And it's not that he's short of, you know, variations. He's got some fantastic variations. But is it a mindset problem? Is it the wrong line that he tends to bowl, or the length? When he's in overseas conditions, he's not reading the conditions. He's got to go back to the drawing board, because if you want to be a legendary sportsman for your country, you need to go out there and perform in all sorts of situations and all sorts of tracks. You can't always have a rank turner from day 1. When you're bowling in better conditions, you must be able to work the batsman out.
The greatest draw, they're calling it, and Dada, I know it's a rhetorical question, but this certainly feels like the greatest draw, because I can't remember a match headed for such a pulsating finish ending in a draw.
Yeah, it was a fabulous test match. It was a fabulous example of test cricket, and that's why they say test cricket is the ultimate form of cricket. Look at AB de Villiers, look at Faf du Plessis. Day 5 of a test match, when a lot of cricketers have shut their shop thinking that their participation in that game is over, these two people have stand up and played an outstanding knock. From the position they were in yesterday afternoon, and from the position they were at the end of day's play today, day 5, they will be really proud of themselves, because from a position of trying to save a test match, they almost created a winning position. And as I said, had Faf du Plessis not been run out by Ajinkya Rahane, I think South Africa would have won with an over to spare. But on the whole, it has been a fabulous test match. South Africa will take a lot of confidence out of this test match and go into Durban. India will probably go a bit disappointed, because on a 5th-day pitch, they couldn't get past South Africa, especially when they had them overnight 138 for 2.
Absolutely, because India went into the final day of the Joburg test with their tails up and eyeing their 3rd test win in South Africa. Probably the first time they would have actually taken the lead in South Africa. They resumed at their overnight total of 138 for 2 and soon lost the wicket of opener Alvaro Peterson, who failed to add to his overnight score of 76. Mohammad Shami then again did the damage, claiming his 2nd wicket of the 2nd innings, forcing Peterson to play onto the stumps. But the big blow came when Jacques Kallis fell to Zaheer Khan, who claimed his 300th test victim. That obviously is Alvaro Peterson's wicket. There, have a closer look at it. Forcing Peterson, setting him up, and then drawing that really bad shot from Peterson. Then it was Zaheer Khan who swung into action, getting the wicket of Jacques Kallis. Unfortunately, it was an inside edge onto his pads, but the umpire gave it since there was no DRS. Jacques Kallis was on his way back, but it did give Zaheer his 300th test wicket. But then AB de Villiers joined Faf du Plessis and they steadied the ship, striking hundreds to tire out the Indian bowlers. They in fact threatened the Indian bowlers, taking them to the cleaners, and completed magnificent hundreds and brought South Africa to a situation where they could not, or it didn't seem like they could lose the test match. But then disaster struck. Ishan dismissed AB de Villiers for 103, and then Mohammad Shami got rid of JP Dumini for 5. Suddenly things became interesting. Faf du Plessis finally fell for 134, run out by Ajinkya Rahane in a magnificent fashion. And that ensured that South Africa didn't take a chance. They just saw out the rest of the match. Dale Steyn did hit a 6 of the last ball, but by then it was just a little too late. 450 for 7. 8 runs is what separated South Africa from a draw and a win, and they couldn't get those 8 runs. India, who looked like they were in pole position, actually have now held on for a draw, and they'd certainly be very, very relieved. And Dada, yes, I know you've pointed out that Ravichandran Ashwin, obviously wicketless, has given about 108 runs in this test match. But the Pacers, could they have done something differently?
No, I thought they were fantastic. I thought they bowled very, very well. Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami. I was a little surprised not to see Mohammad Shami come back straight after tea. I think Dhoni held him back a bit too long after tea and should have brought him on straight away. But if I have to criticize something, probably will be Zahir Khan's effort on the day 5. I won't say the effort, but I would say the thinking. Zahir Khan has to bring the ball back to the right-hander from over the wicket. He just can't keep bowling around the wicket and bowl to the right-handers with that angle. When Zahir is at his best, he brings it back, and when he's not bowling well, he will come around the wicket and just take it away from the right-hander, and that's when he doesn't pick wickets. So I don't know. I don't know what his thinking was. Maybe there was a crack there, but he's got to go back to over the wicket in Durban and try and bring the ball back into the right-hander, because I think he's a class act. It's been a fabulous effort to see him get 300 test wickets, but he has to bowl a lot more over the wicket to the right-handers.
That's a fair point that Dada makes. And Dada, there were some points about Mahendra Singh Dhoni's captaincy as well. Was he at fault? Because there were times when his field settings could have better. I remember Vernon Philander actually pulling, maybe it was Ishant Sharma for a 4 in the cow corner, especially with the tail-ender batting. And there were some short pitch deliveries that the Pacers were bowling. A cow corner in those sort of situations almost essential, you'd say?
No, I think he had 2 fielders, deep square leg and deep fine leg. But I think once Dhoni came back after tea, his mindset was to save this test match, because he knew South Africa could win it from here. So rather than trying and picking wickets, he was actually trying to save this test match. And for that, you have to give a lot of credit to the South African batsmen, that they got themselves into such position in 2 sessions since the start of play this morning. So you have to give him a bit of benefit of doubt. But once again, I honestly feel that his spinner has let him down. And the selectors or the captain or the team management should look at these qualities. You know, I've got tremendous regard for Ashwin, but at the end of the day, when you play for India, it's about performance, and performance when the team wants the most. And I think he's let down the team today in conditions where a good spell from him, maybe a 3 wickets, I'm not saying 5 wickets, maybe a 3 for 50, a 3 for 60 would have won this test match, because you don't get into these positions very often overseas. You look at India in the last 9 test matches overseas, they've lost 8, and they're almost on the verge of losing this one. So you don't get into these positions very, very early, and good players stand up when the teams need the most. Look at AB de Villiers, look at Faf du Plessis, and you look at Virat Kohli when India were down the drain. So I think Ravichandran Ashwin will have to pick himself up before the Durban test match.
And Nikhil, then there's the question of who's in the reserves. But when you look at the reserves, you see Pragyan Ojha and Ravindra Jadeja, 2 men who can certainly do the job for India.
Not so much Ravinder. I mean, no disrespect to the man. I think he's a fantastic cricketer, but for the longer version and the kind of conditions you have, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to give Pragyan Ojha an opportunity. You know, if he's fit, he's there, and he can go out there and pick up wickets as well. He doesn't have too many variations in terms of the carom ball, but just the wicket-taking ability. And at this moment in time, the last couple of test matches that he's played for the country, he's done a phenomenal job. And I remember in the earlier show, Dada was pointing out that he's got 5 wickets in the first innings, when probably it's the best time for the batsman to go out there and bat, and not the ball turning so much. So I guess won't be a bad idea. When you're in an opportunity, you've got the opposition down. If you need to call a spade, make the changes that you need to win, won't be such a bad idea.
That's a fair point, Nikhil, that you make. And Dada, you'd agree with the point that Nikhil's making, that Pragyan Ojha sitting in the reserves would be a better choice than Ravichandran Ashwin in the next game?
Yeah, looking at his overseas record, maybe why not give it a try? You don't need Ravichandran Ashwin's batting at number 7. If you're in number 8, if your 7 batsman can't do it, your 8th batsman can't do it either. You have to pick your best bowler, and to be honest, Ravichandran Ashwin hasn't delivered overseas. Yes, he's been a fantastic bowler at home. He's got 90 test wickets in India, but as you said, overseas 5 test matches, 9 wickets, which is not a great record to have. But at the same time, I know what's going to happen. Ravichandran Ashwin will play in Durban.
All right, Dada putting it as bluntly as he can, that Ravichandran Ashwin will retain his place in Durban, and that's just sad. But that is the truth that Indian cricket faces.
Well, that, or you can say Mahendra Singh Dhoni doesn't like to make too many changes. At the end of it, from where we were, from day one, where we are, from the winning position, he'd probably say, well, okay, fair enough, he's had 1 bad test matches, and we've seen Mahendra Singh Dhoni back the players that he believes are match winners, and I won't be surprised that he's looking to back Ravichandran Ashwin as well, and he'll continue. But this is a test series that going on to the next test match, I'm sure Mahendra Singh Dhoni and some of the other guys would have said, we were on the brink of creating history, winning the first test match, we let this go. Not South Africa's, of course, with their ability, they've been able to save the test match, but we had it in our bag and they've just completely taken it out of our hands.
Absolutely, they have done so. And Dada, yes, we know that it means obviously the Indian fan probably at the end of the test match feeling a sense of relief, but for 4 days they've been on top of this test match, and there have been a lot of positives, especially they'll stand India in good stead in the long run.
Oh yeah, I see a lot of ability in this team, especially the batting. We've been hearing for the last 1 year that there's no Dravid. Tendulkar's gone against in the West Indies series. So whether these young boys will be able to take the batting forward. And if you remember, I said at the end of the 15 months we will have a team, and I think we have a team with Pujara at 3, Kohli at 4. Rohit Sharma at 5 and Ajinkya Rahane at 6. When you actually watch them back, you see they have the ability and technique to survive in overseas conditions against fast bowling, because the batting display we saw from Pujara and Virat Kohli was absolutely sensational. Against a good attack, quick attack on a wicket which had held for the seamers was fantastic to see. Yes, you can say there was no Moni Morkel at the second innings, but that doesn't take anything away from Cheteshwar Pujara and Virat Kohli. I see the batting in very, very safe hands. I see so much of quality in the batting. The bowling looks good. Mohammad Shami for me has been the find. Ishant Sharma has bowled splendidly in this test match. I don't know how long Zahir Khan will be playing, maybe for another year till the World Cup. He deserves this place till the World Cup and to go to Australia. But then we'll have to find one more quick bowler, and if Ravichandran Ashwin continues to play overseas, he will have to get better and pick wickets. So I see a team coming out of India in the current generation, because I see a lot of talent.
So a brave new world is what Team India is entering. On that note, we'll have to say thank you to Saurav Ganguly. Thanks a lot, Dada, for joining us here on the show. And Nikhil, you'd have to say that Dada just hit the nail on the head, that it's a brave new world, a new world order, and this is the making of a team that'll probably rival that of the golden generation.
Without a doubt. In South Africa, you put them against the wall without the Fab Four. Fab Four not in Team India, and these young brigade have done an outstanding job. I would have liked to see them win, but nevertheless, for me, as starters, we're looking to build a team. This is good.
All right, that's a fair point. All right, I'm being told that Saurav Ganguly wants to talk more cricket today, and it certainly is that sort of a day, because we probably witnessed the greatest draw ever that Test cricket has seen, and yes, there are the old cliches that will be sprouted, how cricket is the ultimate winner. But for Indian fans, it feels like a loss, because for 4 days of this test match, they've been on top, but there's still a lot of positives to be taken. And let's talk about the pace bowling attack, Dada, because we saw what happened in the ODIs in South Africa. Forget what is happening in the ODIs against Australia or the West Indies at home. We saw what happened for the Pacers in that ODI series, but in the Test series it was a completely different sort of attack that came to the fore. They got just about everything right.
Oh yeah, they were splendid in the first innings. They bowled superbly. Zahir Khan was brilliant. Ishant Sharma was brilliant. You can say that they probably didn't finish it well on day 5, but a lot of positives to go out of this test match before they go into Durban. The seamers have looked good, they have looked pacey, they've bowled in the right areas, and I think Sami is a fantastic addition to this bowling lineup. He looks so good. He's got all the abilities to pick 300 test wickets as Zaheer Khan did if he stays fit, and for me he's one of the very good finds of Indian cricket. The biggest thing these fast bowlers need to do before they go to Durban is take good 3 days off. Get to the beach in Durban, have a swim, get fresh and get ready to bowl in Durban, because the time between 2 test matches is not a lot these days.
Well, I'm sure, Dada, they'll do exactly that. Christmas Eve coming as well. But do you think, Dada, with our seam attack, we've actually, put a few shivers down the South African spine, that they won't leave too much of grass on the wicket? Because if our quick bowlers are not probably as quick as Dale Steyn, but in terms of skill, we can get that ball to talk in the air much more in comparison to the South Africans.
Yeah, but I think there will be grass on the pitch in Durban, because that's how they play their cricket. They are going to be a fast bowl. South Africa is a fast bowling side. I don't see Imran Tahir playing in Durban. I see another fast bowler coming in with Moni Morkel injured, maybe Rory Clanveld, another fast bowler. So we could see in Durban South Africa go with 5 fast bowlers. So there will be a bit of grass in Durban, and that's the way the test matches will be played. And I think that's the best way for South Africa to win, to be honest. And I can tell you that from this batting effort in the second innings, South Africa will take a lot of confidence before they go to Durban. They enjoy batting in Durban. They enjoy the bounce. There will be a lot more bounce than it was at the Wanderers. So I think there will be a bit of grass on that pitch at Durban, because South Africa need to win the series as well.
Absolutely, Dada, but there was a lot of talk about how this is the best fast bowling lineup in the world, and for good reasons, because there's Dale Steyn, Moni Morkel and Vernon Philander. But what they couldn't do, and what the Indians did, was get reverse swing going, and that was something that we haven't seen too often from the Indian pacers in recent times.
I don't think it has reversed that much, to be honest. It did swing a bit in the air, and it did seem a bit off the seam, but I haven't seen consistent reverse swing as the test match progressed. Well, the South Africans also did swing and seam a lot. South Africans are probably a little different. They are hit the deck bowlers, but I must say that their bowlers did very well in the second innings, even without Moni Morkel. Had Moni Morkel been fit, India may not have got to 400, and this test match could have been very different. So, let's not get into conclusions. I think the realistic thing will be there will be grass on the pitch. There will be pace and carry for the quicks in Durban. That's how it is in South Africa. That's how it is in Australia. The Indian fast bowlers will have to turn up and bowl well again, because the South African batting are used to playing in these conditions. Yes, the Indians did fabulously well in this test match, but they will have to produce another effort in the next test match again.
Absolutely, and then there's the question of Dale Steyn, Dada. Dale Steyn has to be back to his best, because the Indians had it, so to say, easy, because Dale Steyn, his radar was a little off in this test match.
Yeah, he was not at his best, Dale Steyn, and he bowled too far outside the off stump. He was probably trying to bowl fast, and I think that's the reason he probably lost his line a bit. I think South Africans will have to get their bowling combinations right. I think they have to bring in another fast bowler, go in with 5 fast bowlers including Jack Callis, because even if they need a defensive period, Imran Tahir is not the bowler to put the Indian batsmen at check. So once they get in another fast bowler, they can use Dale Steyn a lot better. They can use him in short spells and not make him bowl 25 overs a day, because that's not what Dale Steyn is. He's a wicket taker. He'll bowl 16, 17 overs a day, and every time he comes back, he'll be fresh and bowling quick. So I see South Africa going with this format in the next test match. And also I hope, I don't know whether they will, but I hope Quinton de Kock comes into the side in place of JP Duminy, because I think he's a very good batsman, and we Indians really want to see him play, because he's a very good young player.
But the contest is then, Dada, set up, because the Indian batsmen have confidence now that they can take from the Wanderers to Durban, and South African bowlers will obviously, as you say, take heart from the fact that they bowled so well in that second innings.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both teams will take a lot of confidence from this test match. And especially the South Africans, with the way they saved this test match and got them in a position to win. As I said, at the end of today, South Africa will probably go back to the hotel a lot happier than India, because their back was to the walls. We were all expecting an Indian win. I know how many SMSs you send me right throughout the day that as soon as India win, get ready. So we were all expecting India to win this test match. But I think South Africa will go home happier and confident that they got themselves into a fantastic position, probably on the toughest day of the batting surface. And as I said at the start of the show, Mahendra Singh Dhoni will go back disappointed that they missed an opportunity to win the game.
Well, they certainly will. We're getting word that Virat Kohli is man of the match, and he definitely deserves it, because he was stellar in both innings, wasn't he, Dada?
Oh, he was fantastic. His knock in the first innings was marvellous. In tough conditions, the way he got forward, the way he got back was absolutely brilliant. I don't take anything away from his knock in the second innings, but just that there was no Morny Morkel in the second innings. So that makes life a little easier for the batsman when you know one of your best fast bowlers is off the park and he will not come back. It just changes the thinking of the captain, it just changes the thinking of the batting unit. But his knock in the first innings was special. He's a special player, we all know that. The way he batted against Australia in the one-day series, and now the way he played in South Africa. He's a competitor, he wants to get better, he wants to be the best, and that's a great attitude to see in a young player.
And it'll certainly be hurting, as will the rest of the Indian team, because they're calling it the greatest draw that's ever been played, but it still feels like a loss, almost like a loss for the Indian team. All right.